Toastmaster. I have been a member of Toastmasters for the past 2.5 years, and I must say it has been absolutely delightful. And the title of my speech today is, Are You the Aspirin or the Headache? So, I am about to start now, Mr. Toastmaster. Okay, so how many of you guys have ever had a headache before? Everybody, okay. How did it make you feel? Yeah, a lot of pain. And how did you seek relief for your headache? Pill. Aspirin. Exactly. There you go. My drug of choice is Tylenol, okay? So let me tell you how I came up with this speech. The other day I was driving to Abbeville, and it was a very, very pretty morning, as it has been for several weeks now. I was driving my black pollen-covered Impala that is now awaiting a tow truck, which is why I was late. But at any rate, all is good, all is good. So I was driving down the highway, headed to Abbeville, South Carolina. It was very, very pretty. The sun was shining, the azaleas were blooming. And I live in Seneca, which is about an hour from Abbeville. So as I driven through Anderson, through all of the 4-lane highways, I then got to Abbeville, which is a 2-lane rural highway. Many of you guys are nodding your heads as if, well, you've been to Abbeville before. It's very, very kind of slow. And it's a decent drive unless you get behind a truck or someone driving very slow. So I'm driving down Abbeville Highway, and all of a sudden as I'm driving, I come up on this church that's sitting to the right. It's a brick church, has about, looks like it might seat maybe 200, 250 people. And they have a sign out front. And the sign says, Are you the headache or the aspirin? And I'm going, whoa, in Abbeville? What's going on in Abbeville? But as I thought about it, I was really challenged with that question, because I tend to think of myself as a positive person. I think I am an encourager and an inspirer. But quite frankly, I know, and you all probably know, that there are opportunities in your life where you could have been the aspirin, but you chose to be the headache. Right? Right. So, for example, it's not the girl at Bilo's fault that I called my hair salon to have my hair colored and they couldn't get me in for another week, and I'm walking around with gray hair, so as a result, I kind of have a bad attitude. I mean, so is that the girl at Bilo's fault? I should still be nice and smile and, be very complimentary, right? That's not her fault that I'm walking around with gray hair and kind of having a bad day. But at any rate, as I thought about that, I was so challenged, and I thought about 4 keys that would help us become the aspirin instead of the headache. And the first key, I believe, is to get rid of stinking thinking. And the Bible says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. So I started thinking about myself as an individual, and I thought about how sometimes when I get up in the morning and I'm getting ready to go to work, and I'm kind of looking at myself in the mirror, and the only thing I just literally pick myself apart. Oh God, this isn't right. That isn't right. Blah, 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 blah. So I'm constantly kind of putting myself down as opposed to looking at what is right. But I mean, granted, I'm not Halle Berry, but I'm not Meatloaf either, you know? I mean, all of us have something good that we can say about ourselves in the morning as we're getting dressed. So we can choose to look at ourselves in the mirror and say, hey girl, you look pretty good today, or hey dude, you're looking pretty dapper today. So start thinking about yourself in a positive way. The other thing I would say is accept compliments graciously. How many times has someone walked up to you and said, oh, I love your outfit. Oh, this old thing. Oh, I just pulled this out of the closet. What's wrong with a simple thank you? Thank you. It's funny because I was walking into a store the other day and someone said something to me, and normally I would go, oh God, no, this is awful. I've had this for 10 years. No. And I just said thank you, and the guy was like, wow, I can't believe it. Somebody knows how to take a compliment today. So just start thinking about how you talk to yourself and how you think about yourself. The other way I think we can become the aspirin instead of the headache is to think before we speak or act. Now, how many times have you had an opportunity to really go off on someone or give them a piece of your mind, and you did it, or I did it. I have done it before. I am guilty. However, as a result of seeing that sign, it made me think about the fact that, sometimes I don't always need to speak my mind. Sometimes my mind needs to be quiet. Just keep my thoughts to myself. Or I need to at least think about what I need to say. Because even if we need to deliver correction, or if we need to align things properly, or have a spirited discussion, we can do it in the proper way. Most people have the philosophy of, you can say anything you want to say to me. It doesn't matter what you say, it's how you say it, right? Mm-hmm. So think before we act or speak. The other thing I would say that we should keep in mind, in terms of becoming the aspirin instead of the headache, is to, whenever we have it in our power to make someone's day, let's do it. Especially if you know they are having a horrible day, and you can say something nice to that person, do it. Just do it. I mean, sometimes I've encountered people, and just a compliment, or just something nice, and they will just light up, and they will even say, my goodness, you don't know, I really needed to hear that. We have that power in our hands. And the final key, I would say, is to remember 3 very important words. And those words are please and thank you. So I don't know if any of you guys have ever had an opportunity to be the headache or the aspirin. I suspect that you have. I don't know that that was just for me. But I want to challenge you today that whenever you have the opportunity, please become someone's Advil, Tylenol, or Aleve. Thank you.